Uh,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hit and Hustle from IRSportsDaily.com. I'm your host, Greg Flamong, and with me, as always, is Mr. Jamie University. It is Tuesday, August 1st, and the thing that I didn't happen. Notre Dame is reportedly, this from Ross Dellinger, I think he had it first. Where is Ross nowadays, Jamie? Who is
he
he
moved
with?
to Yahoo from Sports Illustrated.
He went to Yahoo, so Ross is with Yahoo, and he reported yesterday that Notre Dame is going to re-up with Under Armour, another 10-year deal. Jamie,
Not short.
not short, another 10-year deal. I had a lot of people on Twitter and on the message board for Irish Sports Daily. Where's Greg? You'd think that if you've got an announcement like this, you do it during the day and you could have like a whole thing. This breaks at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So I'm out like with my kids, right? Like they are at a camp and I'm there with them because you take your kids to camps, Jamie. That's what you do. And so I wasn't at home and I'm like, I'm not gonna impromptu, like I'm not gonna go home and record a show and get in trouble with Amy, my wife. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to do that because they went with Under Armour. So here we are. When they released the jersey, Jamie, I thought, well, if I
That
was,
would have been the time to do it.
that would have been the time to do it. Like if I was them, it's like you do it all at the same time, right? Because you're doing the thing. Everyone is happy. I think everyone liked the green jerseys.
Yeah, they look good.
Especially the white numbers. People like the green pants and all that stuff. And it was like a good rollout with the video and everything. And you would think you would do it then. They didn't do it. And I thought, well, that's indicative, right? And I think it still is indicative because if you're proud of it, if this is something that you thought was good and something that was good program, you would do it at the same time. And they didn't. And I don't know, Jamie. It's not good. It's. I don't think it's good. I don't think the product is good. I think the athletic department owes it to their athletic teams to give them the best products available. I don't think they did that. It's just I don't really believe. It's not that I don't believe the numbers, like the headline, most lucrative deal. I don't know what that means. The numbers that he put out that didn't make any sense. Like there are other deals on the books that are more expensive than this, or that are
We
paying.
don't know, but I don't think everybody kind of knows what all these.
And so you can't.
It's not the same.
Yeah, there's no way to refute it. There's no way to confirm it. It's something they put on a headline, and it's the agent comes out with a press release or whatever. It's like the most lucrative deal. I don't know what that means. Joe Bro says I need a number before we ever get judgment. I don't think we're ever going to get a true number because the thing with these things is the thing with these deals is they have escalators, they have incentives, they have all these different ways to get to a certain number. You're never going to know. We're never going to know what other companies offered. We're never going to know what Nike offered. We're never going to know what Adidas offered. You and Matt were talking yesterday about how Nike must not have really come to the table. Given what Ross reported. I mean, 10 million over 10 years, it's obviously $100 million.
It was over 10 million.
Upwards 10 million, basically above 10 million, over 10 million. You would think if it was a huge number, they'd want that out there. They didn't put it out there. I think the fact that you're the University of Notre Dame, you can't sell Nike on presenting a good offer. You can't make it worth their while. I think that is not good. So yeah, I'm not happy. This is not good, Jamie. Do you have anything to say? I'll probably have some more to say in a second, but I've been doing more talking than you. So, do you have anything that you want to say about this?
Well, I think it's disappointing for fans who have actual taste because
Yeah,
I think most people who actually respect themselves want to wear Nike or Adidas over Under Armour. I mean, it's better. The apparel is better. I
yeah.
think it's better design. It's better. I mean, no one goes into an outlet or a mall or whatever, and it's like, man, I got to get to Under Armour first. That just doesn't happen, right? Um, or maybe it happens for 50-year-old white guys or whatever, and maybe that's enough for Notre Dame. That fits their demo. Maybe I don't know, but shouldn't. But maybe it does. But so but it's easy to pick on that and just say that's bad for fans because all the fans want, better choices and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think like jersey stuff, all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think they've done a bad job with the Shamrock Series stuff or anything like that.
Those are Notre Dame mock-ups.
Yeah. Like,
Notre Dame gives them the designs. So.
Yeah, like they're a good partner in that sense with that stuff. Yeah. I think just when it comes down to it, it's just the quality of the actual shoes.
Are shoes important for a football team, Jamie?
They're pretty important. I'd say they're pretty important for basketball players as well. If there is a percentage of people who prefer Under Armour shoes, it's a tiny percentage. And I mean, immediately, like, my wife is a physiotherapist. I mentioned this before on a previous show where she's, did a master's in sports science program where they basically did a full lecture on how Under Armour cleats were causing injuries. So I think that they've improved it, but I mean, they're still not there, and really because they were an apparel company that got into the space of making shoes, and they're clearly not at the level of a lot of these other big shoe companies, right? So, and I think I think if the way people should look at it is, I don't think it's a good. It's not good news for the athletes unless it gets way, way better with the shoes and the cleats, and we just have no way of knowing that. So because of that, it's like you're in for 10 years on the promise that hopefully it gets better. I mean, and it's easy for us to say about the money. Let's just assume that we're going to pay way more money than anyone else. I think that's pretty fair to assume. So from that perspective, I guess it's tough to blame Notre Dame. You're going to take the most money, but from the perspective of what's best for the athletes, it's not good.
From the perspective of what's best for the athletes is not good. I think that pretty much sums it up. I mean, the players don't like this. I haven't asked current players because I'm not supposed to talk to current players, but I've asked a bunch of former players. All of them wanted Nike. I didn't talk to every single former player. Like, I'm sure some are fine with it, but the majority don't. I think it's pretty clear that the coaches don't. They want Nike for their teams. It's not just football, right? It's not just a football. They don't just play football at Notre Dame. They play a lot of sports. Nike makes better shoes across the board. Michael Hahn makes a comment. I don't like UA, and I'm around that age. Apparel is okay, but I don't even know where to buy their shoes. But everyone says their shoes are horrible. And this brings me to another point that, part of being aligned with a partner is marketing. It's a big deal. You market your stuff. And I had a listener. I didn't say I would say his name, so he sent me a DM today. If he's in the chat, you can I'll put it up if you want, but I didn't specifically say, I didn't ask if I could use your name, but he sent me a video out in Chicago of the Under Armour store in Chicago now. Okay. Notre Dame's right there. Why can't Notre Dame do well in Chicago? They've got a huge Under Armour store in Chicago. He sends me a video, front of the store, no Notre Dame anything. They just released their green jerseys yesterday. No Notre Dame anything anywhere. Maybe inside the store. But like this is a marketing thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand how if Notre Dame wants to be made to feel special, you're going to go with a company that doesn't market your stuff. Everyone on Twitter, on the message boards and everything, Marcus Freeman wears a sweatshirt, a shirt, a hoodie, and anything. Where can I buy it? I would like to buy it. Can't buy it. It's nowhere to be found. You can't buy the jersey right now. There is no green jersey available online, at the bookstore, on the Under Armour website. That you make money through that too. That's another way to make money.
Poor planning.
Poor planning. It's just, and this is, look, they went in with 2014, they went with Under Armour, and it didn't work. It was a bad bet. It was a terrible bet.
Yeah.
And they re-upped.
Yeah.
You re-up, you double down on the bad bet. And as far as we know, Jack Swarbrick takes the lead on this. He's going to be gone, and I don't know where Pete Bavacqua, if he's happy with it or if he's not.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't see how, even if he wasn't, it's not his call.
No, he's not running it yet. So
right. So, and now it's a 10-year deal. It's terrible. It's bad business. People want to talk to me about the apparel, and fine. If you like the apparel, that's great. I'm happy for you. The athletes need to wear stuff on their feet. They don't like the shoes. The shoes are bad. They've been bad. If you're going to be a serious program, you need to outfit your athletes in the best quality stuff. Cleats, Jamie. Cleats. It's just not good. And everyone tells me, Greg, they were never going to do it. You were dumb for thinking they could. And it's not that I didn't obviously I knew this is a large possibility. Obviously I knew that, right? You knew that, Jamie. I think everyone knew. It's easy for them to go back. You were just, you hope that they're going to do something different. They're actually going to do the thing that is correct. Because, and the reason I say it's correct, it's not just my opinion, because everyone agrees that the shoes are bad. Everyone agrees. No one, and just like I said before, the fact that they rolled it out the way that they rolled it out, there's no way you're proud of this. There's no way you think people are going to be excited about this. And so, it's just, Ross Dellinger puts it out there. Bridget's here. Hi, Bridget. How's it going? We're all here to make me feel better, and I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Brendan's here. He's trying to protect me for the last couple months, and I was hoping, and it didn't work out. So I don't want to go too crazy because it's not fair to Jamie. It's not fair to Jamie for me to go off like that. Hold on, Sweet Pea. My daughter's here. Yeah, Tyler says I'm about to make my way through all 5 stages of grief. That's true. So I don't want to go on too much, but I did want to get it off my chest. I told the people that I would talk about it, and so I have talked about it. I don't like this apparel deal, and I don't like it, and I will not like it. But an apparel deal I do like is ESQclothing.com. What we got going on with God Wang.
There you go.
He puts the stuff out. If let me tell you something, if I put on a shirt in this show, you can go buy it at ESQclothing.com. Get Gauze bamboo dress shirts. He will take care of you. You see a shirt you like, you go to ESQ, he'll fit you in it. He's gonna make it right. You got a wedding coming up, hit up Ga, and he's going to take care of your suit. He's going to take care of everything you need. Go to ESQ, bamboo dress shirt, breathable, feels good, performance dress shirt, machine washable. What am I forgetting, Jamie? Machine washable, odor resistant, wrinkle resistant. You're saving up on breathable. It's everything you want. Everything you want in a dress shirt. You can feel comfortable in it. You can go to a Notre Dame football game in one of God Wang's dress shirts. That's how good it feels. And maybe you'll have to. Maybe you can get one in green. Maybe we'll get God to make one in green. You could wear that because you can't buy any green stuff from Under Armour that they're going to put out. Maybe they won't have a jersey. So go to esqclothing.com, upgrade your shirt game. And we're proud. I'm proud.
I think they still probably have the play like a champion jackets that they had before.
They probably do. They probably do. So. And Michael Parks bulletproof, not bulletproof. That's not true. I don't know what that means, but they're not that good.
It's not a John Wick suit.
It's not a John Wick suit. No, it's not a John Wick. So let's make a transition to the actual football team. The players who are going to be wearing the Under Armour jersey that everyone liked. I mean, let's look like Marcus. Bridget says, look like Marcus Freeman. Mileage may vary on that. You can certainly dress like him with ESQclothing.com. So, Jamie, well, let's talk about the unveiling. I think everyone was fired up about the video. Very good job. Audric Estime sold it really well. I think Marcus Freeman did a good job on the video. Everyone check that out on the Notre Dame Football account on Twitter @ND Football. What do you think of the green pants? I think everyone was happy with the green jersey at the white numbers, but what do you think of the green pants, Jamie?
I like it.
You like it
because they haven't done it before. It just, I don't know. It's different. I mean, I just like, to me, the main thing is just the white numbers with the green. Like that's just that's the main thing. And I think a lot of people, wanted to see that, and I think they did a pretty good job with it. Like, I'm also a big one. Like, I don't really like when they do the Shamrock Series helmets. As now they're, I guess it's kind of cool looking back on some of them or whatever because there were some cool designs. But the helmet is the helmet. It's classic. Like, just keep it, and that way you can put all the flash on the uniform, and it's just not too busy. I don't think it's good when I don't think any kind of, like, if you're thinking of like those Oregon when they got really wild with stuff, like none of that stuff looks good when it's too busy. Like, I mean, it looks sharp. I thought they look really good. And I, like you said, the video, they do a really good job with that stuff. And they've done a really, really good job, especially since Marcus Freeman has been there too. So, kudos to them for the work they did there. Really smart.
Yeah, congrats to the Notre Dame crew on that, the production and all those things. It's classy. It's classy. It's edited really well. Good concept too. Like, I think that fit as well. So good job by them. I wouldn't wear the green shoes personally. I understand why they have them. Some players might like them. I wouldn't. I would always wear white shoes. That's my. I would wear white shoes regardless. Like on any occasion, doesn't matter what the jersey is. But that's my personal preference. What do you think of the idea of like having the green pants be part of like a rotation? Because you know how like Clemson, they have the multicolored pants. Like they have purple pants, they have orange pants, they have white pants. Miami has different colored pants, right? Like, what do you think about that? Because I kind of, you don't like that.
No, I don't like that. Blue and gold.
I kind of like it.
Blue and gold.
I do like gold. I do.
Not mustard. Gold. But yeah.
I got you. I think it would be good if they would. I think it would be good if they wore green pants, white top, green number, and then the gold helmet. Like, to me, I like what you said. Like, I think the gold helmet is the staple, and that is the one that is like right now they've got it with the shine and everything. And in the stadium, it looks phenomenal. The helmets look great in the stadium, and I think Golden Dome. Like, I think that is the thing that like resonates above anything else. Don't mess with the helmet, but everything else, I feel like they can explore the space a little bit. And to be clear, I don't have really strong feelings about any of this, because on the day it's just like, please win. That's how it is on the day. And I probably won't talk about it other than this show. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like I said, I don't have a strong opinion. If you want gold pants all the time, that's perfectly fine with me.
I think with helmets are the distinguishing thing about college football.
Yes.
Like, don't have Miami without the U.
Yes.
Like, that's got to be there. Like, don't change that up. That's what it is. Like, Penn State, even though it's boring, like the white helmet, just that's what you are. Michigan, whatever, people can hate on Michigan. The helmet it's a distinctive helmet. It's Michigan. It's Michigan when you see it. Like, I like that. I mean, and to me, obviously, I think Notre Dame, the gold helmets are, probably the classic helmet in all of, college football. Stick with it. Don't mess with it. I mean, I guess if you're Oregon and you're trying to like make a name for yourself and do all this kind of stuff, I get it, whatever, right? Some of these other programs are on the come up, whatever. But the programs, those traditional programs, like, just keep it the way it is. Like, that's what people want to see.
Yeah. I think Oregon is completely separate from like everyone else, because they're
like
a
testing ground for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's, and honestly, I think that's fine. Like, their stick is their stick.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone else should follow that. It's like, look,
like when Maryland tried to do kind of
not good. Yeah. That's not good. Like, I think Oregon can keep it, and that's fine, but don't, I don't think anyone should be trying to emulate that stuff. Oregon's got their stick, and that's an advantage that they have, and that's great stuff. Before we get onto the team, Justin Knox says, I hope UA showed some concepts of things they're going to release that were impressive, and the footwear problem is real. Hopefully they stole some of Nike's technology and design. I don't think they did any of that. Honestly, I think it's just, we are going to offer you the most money. Whatever offer you get, we're going to match it and then some. Like, we're going to maybe double it or whatever it is. I think that's all it was, frankly. I don't think there's anything in terms of this is what we're going to come out with. Because, like I said, the proof is in the pudding. Even if they did come out with some good concepts, you got to be able to market it, and they're not doing it. And they haven't done it for years. So there's no reason to think it's going to change. I just think they paid them the most money. And Notre Dame was predisposed to want them because it was a previous relationship. That's my opinion. So, all right, Jamie, let's talk about the football team. There's a lot of interesting things going on, and I wonder how you feel, because I am a lot more bullish on the team than I was maybe, I don't know, a month ago. Like, I didn't see it with this team. I didn't know how it was going to look. But now I kind of feel like, and I don't know why I feel like this specifically. Maybe it's just being able to see them move
early
around.
camp buzz.
I think it's being able to see guys move around is really what it is. And like Jerdarian Price, for example, where it's like everything you talk about him, it's like we didn't see him in the spring, couldn't see him, and now you see him moving around a little bit. And you think, man, him and Estime, like that could be something. Jabron Payne could be something. Like, you see Jaden Greathouse, like I'm starting to get vibes like he could be a real deal. Not like he's going to put up huge numbers for Notre Dame this year, but like a difference maker in moments. I think Chris Tyree, like the way he looks catching the ball, he looks so much more comfortable now. I just think that this offense could be faster than what we've seen. It wouldn't shock me if we saw tempo. Like, why wouldn't we see tempo? Like, you have this fast team. You suddenly have Sam Hartman, who ran tempo at Wake Forest. It's not like previous years where it's like you just didn't have that type of team. It's like it didn't make sense to run tempo. They always talked about it, but it's like, we got two tight ends on the field all the time. Like, why is Notre Dame trying to run tempo? And so, but now it's like, I don't know, they could be an 11. I'm really excited about Holden Stays. It's like, and what he could be. I mean, he's big. I feel like him down the seam could be a real weapon. Like, almost like a like a younger, perhaps a little bit more explosive, like Troy Nicholas. Probably not as good a blocker, but just like going down the middle like that. Brennan puts in the chat, Rocco Spindler's smoke. Oh, it's like, is that a real thing? So that's kind of where I'm coming from, Jamie. Is there anything that you've heard, kind of just like even little snippets, where it's just you feel like, I don't know, I'm starting to get a little bit more excited about this team? Is there anything that sticks out to you?
I think some of it is on the defense, just kind of hearing how Riley Mills kind of came in and approached the summer. We kind of have talked about before, right? Like that contract year, right? And that's kind of like just his kind of approach, like Nana Osafo-Mensah, who, I mean, I don't know. I mean, who knows what will happen over the course of camp and where they're at. But I do think that he's someone who's going to, be a bigger factor this year. And just when you hear some of these guys who are kind of later on, who kind of it's now or never, and they kind of need to make that jump. That's always, I think, a good thing for me. And I think so that's something that I think has been good to hear. I think, which is kind of, it's a little bit more of what we heard in the spring too, but the trimming of the menu for by Al Golden, just because I think it gives the guys a chance who kind of were there last year and played a lot to kind of master that. And then it also gives younger guys a greater chance to actually contribute. Where before you'd say, maybe last year, a guy like Jaden Osbury doesn't have any shot of playing because it's just too much. And now it's like, oh yeah, he might be in the mix, right? And it's not to say he might or might not, but it's just someone like him will have a better chance because of that, right? And I don't know. And I think offense wise, I still kind of want to see a little bit more. Like I want them to kind of figure out the guard situation. So like the Rocco's, as Brandon mentioned about Rocco Spindler, I mean, I am buying that he is a contender to start there. And I mean, I think the fact that they're repping all those guys, they mentioned not just obviously Rocco, Kristofic, and then Trouth, Wagner, Coogan, Tosh Baker got some looks in there too. Like the fact they're repping all those guys says they haven't figured it out, right? Like, so no one should be like, they may want certain guys to win the job, but that isn't even. So even to say like Billy Trouth is going to be like, he might want to win the job, right? Or maybe he starts week 1, but he doesn't start week 3 or something. Like things can change quickly, and I think I would like to see them kind of figure that out and kind of where they're at. But I do like the fact that they're looking at more options there, because I mean, if Wagner is the 5th best guy, he should start. It doesn't matter. Is it like he should start? Like that's what they should do. Or if like Baker's good enough to start, like he should start. Like, and maybe he's obviously not going to be the left tackle other than Joe Alt, but like if he's good enough to start, he's good enough to start. And I think that's something that I just like Rudolph's approach there, but I kind of want to just see it kind of formulated. And I want to just see like I like all the buzz about Tyree. I think that's great. I'm certainly excited about everything that Sam Hartman is going to bring to the offense and the backfield and all of that. But I just kind of want to hear a little bit more about where the receivers are at. And like, I mean, because to me, like, we mentioned it a little bit on Power Hour with Mike Christian this week, but like, Byers Merriweather is really key. Like, he's got to be a guy. And if I think he's, approaching that, but that's got to be, and it might take a while, right? And that's why you have those first 4 games that are a little easier, but still, you'd feel a lot better if all of a sudden at the end of camp, you're like, oh, Tobias Merriweather, it's like, oh, he's locked in. Like that's where they're at.
Yeah. So it's important to keep in mind, like Tobias is going against some dudes,
Yes.
like Morrison and Hart, they're dudes, they're Hart is a 5th-year guy. He's played against some really good wide receivers. He's not just going to be done in by just anyone. I mean, the top of the sport in terms of like he's gone against the Ohio State guys. He's gone against Clemson's guys. He's gone against USC's guys, right? Like these are real players over the course of many years, right? So, Tobias, it wouldn't shock me if he's having an up and down fall, right? That's how it should go. You're going to have that against quality like this. And like you said, in the first 3 games, he's not going to see anything like that, right? So I could see him having an up and down kind of fall and then going into the season and then just being like, wow, like this is a breath of fresh air. I don't have to go against Ben Morrison every single day. That's good stuff. I want to drill down on the offensive line because I feel like that is a big point of like, if they come out and look really good, not perfect, right? They got 2 new guards. It's not like it's going to look perfect all the time, but if they come out and look really good, I mean, I think that Joe Rudolph, we're going to look back at, him repping, Emil Wagner, Tosh Baker, like they've been taking guard reps, like trying to get those guys in different spots, moving guys around. You're getting Pat Coogan reps, getting Christophic reps, Spindler reps. Like, so there is all sorts of, moves that it's just like in the past, that's not how it was. You if you're a tackle, you rep tackle. If you're a guard, you rep guard. And usually knew, and a frequent kind of complaint about Harry Heastan, developed the starters, backup guy. The backups did not get a ton of work. And I think that's something that we've seen so far from Joe Rudolph. That's a change. If it doesn't look good, that's going to be a clear, like, man, you spent a lot of time in camp, giving reps to guys who aren't out there. And, that'll be something that'll be picked apart. So that, like you said, that kind of remains to be seen. I mean, I guess let's drill down on that. Like, I don't think you see Emil Wagner playing guard. He's certainly not big enough to play guard. Tosh Baker I don't know. I don't know that he has the mentality to play guard. His game doesn't seem suited for guard, but he's repping there. What do you think about that? Just as you're a lineman, right? On the defensive line, but still you're in the trenches. Like, what do you think about that concept?
I think both those guys could play there. I think it's okay. I don't view them as like how Zeke Correll was too small for guard. You know what I mean? Like I don't view it in that sense because even though Wagner, I mean, he's 290-ish or whatever, even though you want to see him be bigger, him moving people off the ball, that's not an issue. Like that wasn't an issue. That's not something I've seen as an issue. So, and I think with Baker too, oddly, he is, because everybody thought he was this basketball player who had to gain weight now to do this. He has been more of like a guy like who looks better down blocking than he is getting into his pass set. So I don't think that necessarily those guys can't play there. And I think even if you look at, you could even go back and look at like someone like Aaron Banks, who was like, would have been, if he would have stayed an extra year, he would have been the left tackle that next year. Right. Like that's kind of, and when I remember when Eichenberg, had the eye poke, I can't remember, was it Florida State maybe, but he had that. And then
the eye injury.
Yeah. Right. And then Banks had to go in at left tackle there. Right. So it's not like something that has not happened before. And certainly there's, guys who could kind of play both, like, but I just think like you got to get and Patterson is the perfect example because he could have played anywhere. Yeah. He really could have played anywhere. But I do think that, and that is, it's not my concern that it's like, oh, they do need to get it and get comfortable and have like, these are our guys, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I do think that's a thing, but I guess the fact that they're trying all those guys saying, Those other guys no one has earned it. And that's the thing. You have to go and earn it. You can't just be given it. So it's like Billy Shrout. I think Billy Shrout has incredible potential. Like I think he could be, one of the better, develop into one of the better guards in college football, right? But he better anchor a lot better than he did in the spring game. And if he's still having trouble anchoring in pass protection, then that is a problem. That is a problem. So that's something that you're going to worry about. You're going to worry about if he's not getting it done. I see DJ Armageddon mentioned Charles Jagusa there too. I don't think he's going to be a factor. Like, I don't think he's fully healthy all the way yet, and I don't think he's in like great shape. It's a very hard. You just don't see many guys step in and be true freshman starters at guard. It just doesn't happen very often, right? Like it's yeah, I mean, you don't really see too many true freshman starters at tackle either, right? Like it's very difficult. And when you're already a guy who's coming in the summer to do it, and it's not to say that maybe halfway through the year he ends up being a guy, but
yeah,
I mean, he hasn't been mentioned as a guy who's been getting those reps yet. So
yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, he would have to take a jump in this next little bit, and it could happen, right? Because that's the kind of thing where Benjamin Morrison was like, he was just arrived, and then all of a sudden at the beginning of camp, no one was like, man, Benjamin Morrison is really going to be in the mix. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, Benjamin Morrison is heavily in the mix, right? So
yeah,
that could change over the course of a couple of weeks. And, I get there on Friday, Saturday. So they kind of have a little break here after, I believe today. Then they have at least in terms of what we get for viewing and stuff, right? There's a little bit of a break. So I wonder if there's going to be maybe a little bit of more of a shift, and we kind of get figure out by the time there, or by the time they have, they're next week, they're going to have another full practice that we'll be able to see.
Yeah. So I think I wonder by the time you get there, there's a little bit more clarity there, because it makes sense to me that he's a new coach, right? He hasn't seen these guys a ton. He's only been around a little bit. It makes sense to me in camp, like early in camp, let's get these guys on the field, right? Let's give them like a real shot, And so just keep everyone engaged. Like I haven't predetermined kind of thing, I haven't decided. Let's get you out there and see what you can do. I'm going to give you a chance. I think by the time, you get there, we're getting to practice like 7, 8, 9. That's when things kind of got to materialize a little bit. Like you got to start getting people ready for the season and that sort of thing. I think that's fair. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because Navy and kind of, Zeke Krell was asked about it, right? Talking about all that zero blitz that they did, right? Like you got to get ready for that.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing. If one of those guys, you don't think they can handle that, I mean, you might as well move them to the back now, because that they will get overwhelmed. And then that's where this similar kind of things can happen that happened in the second half against Navy last year. And you just don't want to see that. So I think that's going to, having them as the first opponent offensively, like on the offensive line wise, it kind of makes that decision. Like it's going to make that decision for you. Like if you don't think someone is going to handle that, that's not the game to get them to start.
Moving over to the defense, because you mentioned a lot about the defense, and we had a question here. Where is it? Oh, Adam Dowling asking about the young linebackers. Do the young linebackers have a chance to move past the veterans during the season? I just want to take this opportunity to point out that there's been a lot of positive talk about both Drake Bowen and Jaden Osbury so far, which is great to hear. I'm obviously, and you kind of remember this, Jamie, like I'm very high on Drake Bowen just as a player, period. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be ready to go. And it seems like he's picking up Al Golden's defense very quickly. And it's to your point that Al Golden has taken things out. And it makes sense to me. Like he came in and he probably had a bunch of ideas and from the NFL and thought, man, I've got some good stuff. Let's see if I can throw this in here and we can have it installed. So in the case I need it in a certain point of the season, we can bring it out. And then you just never bring it out and you've kind of overwhelmed them with it, right? So they've been studying something that they haven't used. So I think for him, it's like, okay, I have some stuff that I like. Let's get rid of the other stuff and then we'll focus on this. Like you said, it shows in that Drake Bowen looks good. Jaden Osbury looks good. Nolan Ziegler has looked good. He's been kind of absent for some practices, so maybe he's gotten dinged up a little bit, but we know we like them. Know that any of the young guys could ever supplant the older players, right? Like Bertrand and Kaiser and Marist, but they can certainly cut into their time. And that's the kind of thing that I think will show itself and will be evident to Jamie because again, by that point, you're really not repping guys if you don't think that they're going to be players for you. So if you're going to be first, second team, you're getting reps with the twos. By the time Jamie gets there, it's going to be indicative of where you stand with the team.
Well, the other thing is it's pretty clear that they're not going to just play like 3 linebackers. They're going to play like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
So the main thing is that the young guys, I think they do have a chance, but what has to happen is they have to be better than the other guys to supplant them. So if you're going out and it's not just, it is making plays. Yeah, that is part of it, but it's also like, how are you grading out and all in every way? Because they, grade them every play. Are they assignment sound? Are they doing that? They're getting into the right checks and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think people think that like Prince Cully, not all people, most people, I think, who watched it closely kind of knew that, he wasn't quite ready to take a step up yet. But people look at it and they think like Prince Cully, oh, look at this guy flash here, and this guy should take the job. It's like, if he was grading out better, he would have played. He would have started. Like that's how it kind of works. It's just like how Shane Simon lost the Will job in the middle of the season in 2020, right? Like Maris took over that job late in the season, right? Like Troy Pride took over the job from Nick Watkins, because Love moved over to the boundary, and then Nick Watkins became the third corner because Pride ended up starting at the end of 2017. That happens all the way. Coney, as we've kind of talked about, we're talking about Tavon Coney the other day. I mean, part of it was due to injury with Greer Martini, but he clearly was like the better player. And then so they're going to play the guy who's playing at a really high level, who's grading out better. Like all that kind of stuff has to happen. But in order for that to happen, you just have to see like, not going to be the critical mistakes. And Matt was kind of asked about this on the board the other day about Drake Bowen. And it's like, Drake Bowen could grade out really, really good, but it's like, and for the most part, he looked really good in the spring game, but he had the one bad run fit.
Yeah.
That was like a, 40, 50-yard run, but from Jabron Payne. And it's like, well, that's not going to get you on the field, right? So it's like all of these kind of things like that, like that kind of stuff matters, especially when you're a young guy and it might seem unfair to be like, oh, one guy makes a mistake and then he's not going to play again. It's like, I mean, you got to make the coaches trust you. You got to make the coaches trust you. And I think that definitely could happen. And you could see people getting and earning more time. And I think X Watts last year too, perfect example. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Houston Griffin wasn't playing in the bowl game, right? X Watts basically took all the Houston Griffin reps, right? Like, and that just happened over time.
Yeah, I mean, and so you just need time, and the fact that Drake Bowen was there in the spring, and he's got tape there, and then he has these practices that he can put tape out there for the coaches to see. Like I've done this, and I'm making improvements, right? Like there's a clear kind of error. It's like you said in the spring game, shoot at the wrong gap, bad run fit. And it compromised the entire defense, and then there's a huge gap, and it's like a 30-yard run for Jabron Payne, right? Like you don't want those things, but if you can get better tape out there for the coaches to see from practice, that is a way to get yourself on the field, in addition to all the plays you're making. And if you want some good tape, you know what you can do? You can check out VSR Media by Notre Dame Football pregame host and Emmy Award-winning anchor Vahid Sadrazadeh. VSR Media provides professional and cinematic video and photo. Whether you're looking for a collegiate or pro-level highlight reel, maybe a Drake Bowen level highlight reel, you have a personal story to tell, or are aiming to diversify your growing business, VSR Media specializes in short and long form video storytelling, social media management, and website design. VSR Media also captures professional headshots, senior and sports photos. Contact them at vsrmediacompany.com. Mention Irish Sports Daily to receive 20% off your first project. Visit online or give a call at 574-800-9106. All right, let's check out VSR Media. Very happy to have them on board. Justin Knox gives a over-under on tackles for Bertrand this season, 120. I am taking the under. Where would you? I'll give you a chance, Jamie. Over under 120.
I mean, I would take under as well, but I think he's easily.
Where would you set it?
Tackles this year.
Would you set it at 100.5?
I'll put it 100. Yeah, I'd put it 100, and it just, he had 100 2 years ago. Like he probably would have had close to 100. You got to remember he missed that Navy game last year, and he missed time because of the targeting. He missed the Navy game injury. That Navy game he would have had like probably
because didn't Tuli Halamaka have like a bunch of tackles in that game? Do I remember that right?
I mean, he didn't have he played, but he didn't have a lot.
Oh, he didn't have who was it that had like an inordinate amount of maybe it was Colley who had like 7. It was like the most.
Colley had a decent number. Kaiser, I mean, I can't remember the whole thing, but he definitely would have been the guy who had the most tackles, like in that game. And I expect him to have like another kind of big thing, but like, I think that's the one thing that you can be confident about is JD Bertrand is going to be the Mike. He's going to be the starting Mike. I don't think anyone else will supplant him. He's going to play. I would say, the only way he doesn't play the most snaps is if they decide to not use him as much on third down. Right. But like, in like sub packages or whatever, but like he's going to play. I mean, he's going to be like basically the coach on the field on the defense. Like he's
going to be a captain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And usually the captains don't come out. They just don't. That's why they're captains, right? Like they have that responsibility.
He's, one of the smartest guys in the team. He's, pretty reliable. I think he was clearly better last year than he was the year before. I expect him to be better again this year. And then, DJ had another question about Maris. Yeah, I do think he's going to be better, and one of the things too is like, I think he's a guy who's directly going to benefit from like saying like, there's the trimming down of the menu, right? Trimming down of the menu. So he can play faster. And then the other thing is that I think they want to use him more, on the edge and stuff too. And if he gets more chances to rush the passer, like I think that is going to help him as well and ultimately help the defense. So, I would. I mean, I don't know if he'll. Who knows if he can live up to the guy that everyone thought he was going to be in 2021 before he broke his leg, but like. I do think he's going to be, quite a bit better than he was last year.
Who do you think has more snaps this year, Marist or Thomas Harper?
Marist.
At what position?
Well, I just think he'll be like used. Like I think he's going to get in. Like he's going to be like a starting guy in sub packages.
Yeah.
So
but wouldn't Harper as well? If he's a starting nickel.
I don't think but I don't know if it's for sure he's going to be the starting nickel, right? So okay. I don't know. So that's why I would be like, I don't know that Clarence Lewis isn't going to be the starting nickel.
Well, you could also see like those two rotating as well. So I get it. So I'm coming from a standpoint of like Harper's the nickel and, Clarence Lewis, who knows what his role is. But if Lewis and Harper are kind of rotating at that nickel spot, then Marist, I think probably then has a more clear path to the field than guys who are rotating out of the nickel.
Well, I don't
Because
think
he could be
Maris
the
is going to be.
rover too.
I don't think Maris isn't going to play rover, right? Like that's not.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you get? So my question is, if
Maris
you
is going to play Will, he's going to play.
But
Will.
Then what is Kaiser playing?
He's going to play Will as well. Like they're not all going to be on the field at the same time. Like,
yeah,
I think they'll probably split there for the most of it, and then I think like, and also too, like Kaiser will also probably play Mike, and be like, he'll probably play both.
Yeah,
and then I think like, so my guess is that Maris won't play as many snaps as he played last year. I don't think so. I don't think he'll play as many snaps as he did last year. But my guess is he'll still play like, Bertrand will probably play the most snaps at linebacker. Maris and Kaiser will probably be pretty close. And then I just think Harper is probably, unless Harper, I guess it's possible that Harper could be the Tariq Bracy. He could be that this year. But I also think like the vibe I get is that they kind of want to play a little bit more with the rover this year. And so if that happens, then I think that, obviously the nickel's going to play a little bit less. So, and then that obviously opens opportunities for Snead, Osbury, if they're going to still play Kaiser out there. I think Kaiser I don't think it's good for the defense or it's good for him personally to still be, I think he can play it, but I just don't think that's his best spot. So
you're talking rover.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I feel like Notre Dame on defense has a lot of players who are good enough. Like I'm excited to see them play, but where is that going to happen? Like I think Snead is one. I think like Marist is another one. Like it's a little bit more clear with Marist, but like Harper, Lewis, like Jaden Mickey. Like, is he just going to be the field? Like, are him and Hart going to rotate? Because you figure they want to protect Hart because he's had the injury problems. Like, you don't want him to have too many snaps because of the shoulder and stuff. And you feel like Mickey, if he's ready to go, you need to get him on the field. Do they like him at the slot when you already have Harper and Lewis there? So it's like they have a bunch of guys who – it's like, yeah, I could see them. Like they want to get him on, like Josh Burnham. Like, how are you going to get him on the field if he's improving? Because you have Botelho, and then you have Tuli Halamako, who you want to play. And I put out the top 25 for Douglas Farmer, and my 25th guy was Mickey, and I really kind of regret that. Not because I think that Mickey is not capable, he's going to get on the field enough to get to that point. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the case for a lot of guys. So that's the challenge to me for Al Golden this year. Is like, I think he has so many pieces. Getting them effectively in the right spots is going to be the biggest question and the biggest juggling act for him. I just think they have so many guys who can do well, but there's only 11 places on the field, So,
well, I also think too that if you told me Mickey was like a top 15 guy in the team, I wouldn't shock me either, right? Like,
right,
he could, and I think that's where kind of Notre Dame is, where there's that everybody from like, let's just say the top 10 on or whatever, right? Like from 10 to like 30 or even 35, there's like so many guys there that you're like, this guy might be the next best guy, or, because there's maybe some guys who could kind of jump into like a top 5, whatever. It's always possible, but I think there's probably more guys that are like, you didn't list, that could be like, this guy's, a star by the end of the year. Like that could happen. Right. And, and so that's why I think too, it's like one of these situations where, the guy asked about, do you think these linebackers can, like, yeah, like I definitely think like linebacker, corner, even though the corners obviously are pretty good, but like all it takes is like, if, Hart isn't healthy, like, and he hasn't been healthy, he wasn't healthy last year. If he's not healthy, well then Mickey, I mean, it's his chance to shine, right? It's his
Yeah.
chance to shine. And I mean, you didn't even mention Antonio Carter, and we don't know enough about Antonio Carter yet.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he could be a big factor, right? And I think like there's so many things like Tyson Ford. Like I wouldn't say like, man, Tyson Ford's gonna have a big year. But I don't know, maybe like a week from now when I see Tyson Ford out there and I see him doing it, I'm like, oh, Tyson Ford's going to be a dude. Like he's going to be a factor. He's going to be someone who pushed. Maybe like or Gobert, I think was like maybe he was. I don't know if he's banged up or something like that, but it sounded like he wasn't full go at practice today. So I don't know if he's going to be like, yeah. I mean, he might be someone who just all of a sudden it's like they got to get snaps for this guy. And I think there's so many guys like that that you could just say like, man, the potential is just there for them to really, really like rise up. And I think that kind of competition is great. Like that is the kind of thing that helps propel teams to another level. And I think that's like part of what made the 2018, 2019 teams, like those 29, 20, whatever, right? They had depth there where there was a lot of competition, specifically on the defensive line, where it was like, oh, like now it's like, Julian Okwara wasn't the starter. Like Dalen Hayes was the starter, but it was like Julian Okwara earned that. He went and earned that. And I think that's probably I think that's what I'm most excited about from the entire season is just like kind of seeing if there are other guys like that. The next Troy Pride, the next, the next X Watts, the next Julian Okwara, those guys who go and they take it. They take that position from somebody.
Yeah. And it's just like it makes for a happy team too when if I show out, I'll get onto the field. And you kind of know the other guy, like he's showing out too, like he deserves to play. And everyone, to use a football term, everyone gets to eat,
Yeah.
and that makes for, because then you, instead of, let's say 25 guys engaged in practice, like in the middle of the season, instead of 25 guys like truly engaged in practice and the rest are kind of scout team or just kind of going through the motions, then you have 50 guys who show up to practice on defense who are like, yeah, like I have a role to play. Like I'm going to play in this game. I am invested into the game plan. I'm invested into my prep, into my body, into everything. That makes for a happy team. And I think that dynamic exists on offense as well. Like you look at like the two deep at wide receiver, like all those guys have to be ready to go. The running backs, who of the four running backs, like who can afford to just be going through the motions? You just don't have anyone. The tight ends, when with Rudolph getting all these linemen involved in the prep right now, well, they all have to be ready to go because like I've been repped, so like that's what makes for a happy team, an invested team going into the season. Everyone's locked in and that sort of thing. And that's when, you hear stories about the culture and guys are close and the team is close. Like that's where this comes from, and it's hard to say like how many, like, is that worth a win later on in the season? At least one win, in some game where some backup comes in and makes the difference. And it's because they engaged him in the fall camp that he comes in, he's ready to go and makes a play in a game. Is it worth one win a season? Like that's a big deal, if something like this saves a game. So that's intriguing. I'm so excited to kind of hear what you have to say when you get back. So when is the open practice that you're going to see, Jamie?
I can't remember the date, and I think they don't want us to tell.
Right.
Date, but
right.
But we'll talk about it right after anyway, so people will learn then. But
yeah,
it's
I'm just trying to plan on my own.
It's middle of the week next week sometime.
That's perfect.
And yeah, so we'll talk about it on Hidden Hustle, and I think that on the weekend we get a couple 5-minute, or the 5-period things, and then we'll get a look and see where they're at and see how everyone's lined up. And then I do think too that one of the other things is like injuries during camp open up opportunities for other people, right? And so Torian Folston was banged up that entire camp in 2015, right? And obviously he had the injury at the beginning of 2015, which was, obviously not great when it happened. But that allowed not only CJ Procyse to have a bigger role, but that gave like Josh Adams all of a sudden was getting reps with like 1s and 2s that he wouldn't have normally got. He took 173 yards to the house in practice against the number one defense. I mean, that pretty much sealed it that this guy was going to play that year. And then obviously he ended up playing a pretty big role, right? So I think that's one of the things that can easily happen, right? Where somebody has to miss a practice or two because they're banged up, and it just gives, now it's like, okay, well, guess what? Now you get to run in with the 1s, right? You get to run with the 1s, you get to go with the 2s where someone's not there, right? And so sometimes it's about, earning it and passing it. Other times it's just about opportunity and just getting that. I did want to mention, because Tony here in the comments was talking about Cross. Well, he's like, he's worried about his 280. Well, he's 288 pounds. So he came in bigger this year. But I don't think first of all, so he's 288 pounds. I would worry if Notre Dame played Georgia, but they don't play Georgia. Ohio State, their offensive line is not Georgia's offensive line.
And they got to replace a lot.
They got to replace their center. They got to replace two monster tackles. And go back and watch that game last year. Howard Cross was Notre Dame's best defensive lineman in that game. So that's not a thing. And obviously, versus like a Clemson, that's not a thing. Like it's Notre Dame doesn't play any offensive lines where I'm like, oh man, I'd really be worried about that. I'd really worry about it if they made the playoff and then they have to play Georgia or Alabama. Yeah, I would worry about that. But I know they don't play those teams right now. So worry about it if it happens then.
Yeah. So I'm very excited for the shows coming up. Jamie's going to be on site, and we're going to have a lot to talk about there. So you're going to want to stay locked into irishsportsdaily.com. Check out the website. I believe we have a special going on right now, Jamie. Did I see that? Yeah, we got a special going on the website. So go check that out. Become a subscriber today. Subscribe to this show. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so we're going live. We'll be back on Thursday. I think we're going to do a mailbag, Jamie. That's we talked about that. So we're going to put a mailbag out there. So we're going to put questions to the subscribers on the message board. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like what you heard, like I said, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll be back on Thursday. Have a good rest of the day, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.